Hello and welcome to Regiments, a new game on the channel that was recommended by Problem Solver 212. So if you have a game that you want to see in this channel, feel free to leave a recommendation in the comments and we will get to it eventually. The events of Regiments take place in summer 1989 and show a Cold War gone hot scenario, and from what I could see so far, we are going to command forces from multiple NATO and Warsaw Pact countries. And this war begins with an armed uprising in East Germany. June 30th, first front-wide ceasefire in almost a month of bitter and chaotic fighting. A breeze of respite for the mauled regiments and brigades on both sides of the former Iron Curtain. Germany, divided into East and West, was always a focal point of the global struggle between the Soviet Union and the United States, titans of their corresponding political doctrines. In a sense, it was only natural all hell went loose here once more in less than 60 years. Mere 2 years ago, people on both sides of the Berlin Wall sang the same songs and chanted the same chants. Very hopes of a peaceful resolution were in the air, but I guess even Bowie couldn't stop what was coming. But we're still alive. I might as well start to organize tons of notes, records and reports we've amassed over the past month. There's very little I can do to stop the unfolding events, but at least there is a hope of understanding them. It all started with a skirmish not that far from the border. And with that, we are introduced to our first mission on the side of East Germany. Rogue elements of the 4. Motorisierte Schützendivision have carved out a nest around Eisenach and are now gathering forces. Empowered by the state of emergency, the 7th Panzerdivision is tasked to root out the rebels. This operation takes place between the 3rd and 4th June 1989, and we are part of the 7th Panzerdivision Militärbezirk 3. Colonel, we have just received new orders. The goal of our march west is finally clear. The good news is that the rumors about the new war are just that, rumors. We are not going to cross the borders into West Germany. The bad news is that the mass strike across the country got much worse. It's an open revolt now. Most of the 4. Motorisierte Schützendivision has defected from the chain of command. They took positions northwest of Erfurt, clearing out local Stasi and party presence. The attempts to suppress this news have largely failed, and their example has swayed a lot of those with wavering loyalties. They call themselves the Forces of Freie Republik Deutschland. This situation is unacceptable and must be immediately resolved before more people fall to this insanity. Their proximity to the critical section of the border presents a grave risk too. Your 16th Panzerregiment will start the operation right now, even as the rest of our 7th Panzerdivision is still stuck in traffic jams and unruly crowds. Rally the remaining pockets of loyalist forces, defeat the mobile groups of the 4th MSD and strike right into the heart of the rebel enclave. The discipline and speed should allow you to overcome the superior numbers. The state of emergency gives you full freedom to action. Spare nothing at destroying the enemy. Before the battle begins, we have the option to slightly adjust our forces. We have some reconnaissance, we have 2 units of tanks that we can call in individually, and we have some mechanized infantry. We also have mortars, we have some Schirker anti-aircraft, and we have attack helicopters as well as supplies. We can immediately call in smoke, and we can call in heavy artillery. We also have the option to use our operational authority to invest into different paths. We could, for example, get more deployment points, we could get more tactical support, and we could get more supplies. But what I think is going to be most interesting is to further add command structures to our forces. We could get the Armored Task Force Stern, which would give us more access to further tanks. We could get Apparat, which would get us more infantry, and it looks like also some more artillery. We could get Tambov. This is also a mechanized infantry unit that would later give us access to pioneers. Or we could get Bereich. Bereich is an HQ unit that gives us access to napalm. It also later gives us access to some more tanks. And I think for the moment I'm going to call in Bereich to add that to our regiment. After that, we only have 25 operational authority left, and I think it would be wise to invest it into some extra supplies. Now we have to get towards the events, because every time that we want to fight, we have to select a few things. Some of the events might be positive and some might be negative. For example, our supplies could be disrupted, meaning that we can't call them in. We could get air superiority or divisional artillery, allowing us to get further artillery barrages. Otherwise, there might be some electronic warfare, reducing the HQ command radius and SAM accuracy. And I think it might be a wise decision to get electronic warfare out of the way immediately, because the battles are going to get tougher and tougher the further the fighting goes on. In operations, combat is divided into 20-minute phases. Objectives on the map can be completed over several phases. Plan accordingly. And I know that we have 2 phases for this fight, but now we should take a look on the situation ahead. We have our own gathering point over here, while the enemy has one over in this direction and all the way back there. The rest of the entire battlefield is currently under control of the enemy until we reach Lauterbach West and Lauterbach East, where loyal forces are holding out. Forces that we need to protect. So our first objective is to break through towards our allied forces. We could theoretically use the Autobahn over here and then get through the forest, but I doubt that it is going to be that easy. These forests are an absolutely excellent ambush position for the enemy. But the hill over here would also give us a good line of sight on the enemy forces ourselves. The fight can begin, and I've called in a couple units. Our HQ is going to stay behind our forces to motivate the men, while our tanks are pushing forward. I'll send scouts over here on the Autobahn, so that we can have a look on the enemy that is holding out from there. We should have a good angle on them, while we plan our advance. Over here, our BTRs need to move forward. Oh, wait, not those. These need to move forward. We need to get our tanks forward. And we need to make sure that our mortars also keep up. Our supplies are mostly going to stay with our mortars. The same goes with our HQ. And I hope that we soon have an eye on the enemy, so that we can push forward. The enemy might send forces over here. There is a choke point over there, and I would like to capture it to make sure that we cannot get rear flanked. But this, of course, highly depends on the axis of reinforcements. For the moment, I want our infantry to dismount. I want to capture these woods, because they might give us some concealment. But unfortunately, so far, we have not been able to find a lot of enemies. Well, that is not entirely true. We have some enemies over here. Let's get our tanks to move out. Enemy artillery is also coming in from there. Is our own artillery able to shoot this far? Well, barely. Maybe we can suppress some of the enemy. In the meantime, we are hitting the enemy over here. More enemy forces are striking us from over there, but it looks like our infantry is able to get through. I'm going to order the infantry to mount up, so that we can get into this position. I'm also going to order them to hold fire, so that we hopefully get some concealment. And these tanks already got damaged. I want them to retreat momentarily. We need to make sure that these forces do not get hit. I hope we can get them out of the situation. Let's get these boys set up. I'm going to allow them to open fire. We are moving forward to this town, and I'm going to order some artillery on these positions. We have more artillery over there, but we can't really see anything. Can we get our BDRs forward? These guys got hit. Let's order the boys to move away. It looks like we are under artillery fire. We have some units holding out over there, and our own artillery is now coming in to clean the area. Let's get our tanks forward. And in roughly 4 seconds we can call in some more tank support. I'm going to send them forward immediately over there. And we can see that our boys over here are in deep trouble. We do not have that much time. Let's push forward with our tanks and let's try to outflank them over here. We have to hope that the enemy does not have too many forces over in this direction though. Enemy forces has been spotted over there. They are flanking our tanks. Let's get them into reserve mode so that we get out of this situation. There are more tanks over here. And forces hitting us from over here. Let's get these boys also back. Let's get some concealment down and let's order them to retreat to make sure they are not getting annihilated. Our more tanks are coming in. And we can attack these soldiers over here. Our own tanks are now coming in. We are suppressing those boys. Let's get these tanks further to the rear. Get them out of fire. And we can call in some more infantry. I want to root out these problems. We have artillery over there that we can't immediately deal with. But we're going to do so in time. And our scouts are still living and breathing. I want them to move forward. Maybe we can get something on the objective Volga. But so far we are not doing so hot. We are getting through those tanks though. Let's get these tanks forward over here. These tanks are somewhat holding out, but they are slowly getting suppressed. We are getting hit by artillery. Let's order them to move forward. These tanks are falling back. And our scouts have been destroyed. There were enemies in ambush position over there, just as we expected. Can we hit them from our concealment then? And let's try to push up over here. Maybe we can get some exposed artillery. These boys need to get forward so that they get out of the firing range of the enemy. And these tanks, I want them to also push up. Let's hope we are not taking too many casualties. Otherwise, we are in a bad situation. I'm also going to call in more infantry. We have the resources to do so. And we are going to call in some smoke over here to conceal these positions. We only have 2 tanks left there. We might have to withdraw them, but I hope that we can annihilate those guys before we have to do so. These boys on the other side need to immediately fall back. Now, these guys can set up. And I want them to move forward on those artillery. Our own artillery can open fire over here. And I think we can get our supplies for... We can't get them forward. These tanks are almost destroyed. Let's keep our supplies to the rear. Because I think if we can get our supplies forward, we might even be able to repair some of our units. Unfortunately, at the moment, we do not have any armor support. But we are able to destroy those mortars. Wonderful! I think we have destroyed an entire mortar group. And if we are lucky, we might even be able to get into the rear of those boars. These guys can move out. And we have some movement over there that we might also be able to annihilate. There goes one. And there goes the another. This should hopefully mean that Bischofroda is free for the taking. Let's get these boys forward so that we can get an eye on the situation. And we can get some more tanks in. Let's hope that now we can move forward together. I'm going to get the supplies and our artillery forward. We only have 12 minutes left. And I'm hesitant, but I am going to send these guys forward. Let's order them to set up again, so that we can hopefully gain some speed. Over here, we can see that our friends are getting hit. They need to get out. And I'm going to order them to move back. Heavy artillery is going to seal our advance. Over here, these infantry need to set up. Armor support is coming in clutch. And we are going to order them to move further to the rear. Artillery, I want you to annihilate those infantry. And these boys can fall back. Let's hope we can get them out, that they do not get destroyed. Only one vehicle is still alive. Tanks are coming in. And we are in the process of capturing Bischofrode. These T-70s move up over here so that we can get on the flank. Artillery is hitting down on those people, but they are entrenched. We are not doing that much damage. But slowly but surely we can see that the infantry are getting wiggled down. And our infantry made it out.
Zone captured.
We have now successfully taken Bischofrode. Grove would be a good flanking positions on our line, while we try to flank the enemy ourselves over here. These tanks are getting hit. They're dueling with our T-72s. I do not know what these are. T-55A, so we should be a lot better. Can we get our tanks forward over here so that we can get on the side of those defenses? Their enemy is dug in, meaning that they can't easily move. And it looks like we have destroyed those tanks. The enemy had something over there. I do not know how much it is. And I'm going to send out smoke so that we cannot get hit over there. These T-70s need to destroy the enemy infantry. HQ, I also want you to move up. I think our mortars are more than capable to deal with the enemy. Mortars now focus over here. The enemy is withdrawing right into our T-70s. It appears like. And it looks like these boys can move forward. We only have 10 minutes left and we see that enemy artillery is somewhere over there. Can we get these tanks now forward over to Hill 90? We see that there is enemy presence over there. Our tanks are getting hit hard. Let's hope we can push forward quick enough so that we can deal with that. Infantry needs to move out. And these tanks are getting hit hard. I think they need to withdraw before they get annihilated. Heavy artillery is going to be called in on these positions. And we can get some more scouts out over here. I want to see what's over there in this situation. I also want some more infantry out. Let's get these men forward. Infantry can set up. And these men can move forward. Reverse mode for these tanks. I want them to get into some concealment. We have scouts over there that we are in the process of clearing out. Very good. These scouts are withdrawing. We have spotted something over there.
Zone captured.
And these infantry can set up again. I wonder what our scouts are going to figure out over here. Maybe these are lightly defended. I can quickly rush through. I do not know if they have something over there. But I think we might even be able to capture those entry points, making sure that the enemy cannot use them anymore. Our infantry has set up. Wonderful. I can't see how many they are left, which is a bit unfortunate, but we should be able to work something out. I think enemy fire was coming roughly from there, so we are going to open fire with our mortars. We have some more command points that I want to use to get some more T-70s in. And we can't unfortunately see what the enemy has over here. I want our scouts to sneak up on the enemy. And I want these infantries to move forward as well. It is dangerous. I'm going to send them on that slope. Fall back, boys, fall back. I do not want you to get destroyed. We have entrenched infantry over on this side, but looks like they have something like armored cars only. So we might even be able to outflank them over there. Our tanks are getting resupplied. Our own tanks over here are coming up. Let's order them to move as quickly as possible over there. And unfortunately, we are not yet able to deal with those enemies. Ammunition is critically low on these tanks, but they should be receiving some more. Enemy fire is still coming from there. Let's order some heavy artillery. And if we are able to get on this ambush position over there, we are going to move forward with our BTRs. Mortar support is coming in over here. These boys are also in the area. Let's now order these tanks to push. Our other tanks need to shift their focus. And we need to make sure that these supplies are keeping up, because they are almost out of ammunition. But with these supplies coming in, we should be strong enough to keep up the fight. Now, over here, these boys set up and move forward. I want to overrun this position as quickly as possible. And these tanks, unfortunately, they have to withdraw. There is no option to keep them in the fight. They are completely out of ammunition. Mortars can move forward though. And I hope that this advance wasn't a mistake. Can we make sure the guys focus over there? Nope. Fall back, fall back, fall back. Retreat. Retreat. They're getting slaughtered. Okay, they have been completely annihilated. This was not a good move on my side. The enemy is surprisingly tough. Can we get forward on hill 90 now? Because we need to do something here. Ammo over here is getting replenished. The enemy is still on that side. We still can't do much to stop them. But maybe we can slowly flank them. How's the situation at Lauterbach looking? We are losing Lauterbach East soon. We need to get through. But looks like we are carving a path. And our BMP-1s are... No, our allied BMP-1s are under attack. Lauterbach East is in the process of getting captured.
5 minutes remaining.
What was that? We have 5 minutes left. We are going to get through. Let's get our supplies and our other units forward. I want these tanks to focus down here. I don't think these tanks have been destroyed. And we can get some more people in. I want some tanks to move forward. And it looks like we have been ambushed. Let's order them to move back into reserve mode. These mortars need to deal with these guys. But luckily we are close enough to those infantry that we should be able to slaughter them relatively easily. Wonderful. These infantry are almost destroyed. These T-70s are having a massive problem. We have to evacuate them. And these infantry are now the only actual capable fighting unit that we have on the field. Maybe, just maybe, we are able to get them on the flank. Why are you guys not shooting? You should be able to do so. Come on.
Zone lost.
And Lauterbach East has officially been taken by the enemy. Let's order our tanks to move up as quickly as possible. We only have 3 minutes remaining on this current phase. And we have to hope that our artillery is able to suppress them so that our infantrysts can hold out. But we now see more enemies coming from this side. We do not have a lot of resources to spare. Let's call in some more tanks. And we can call in some more infantry. I would also love to get some attack helicopters, but we do not have any. And looks like the enemy is attacking us with T-72s themselves. And just because they have been such a problem, I've shelled them so many times with heavy artillery, I'm going to send some napalm on those T-72s. In the meantime, these T-70s need to hit the enemy that is more or less out in the open. Please face the enemy so that your front armor is going to take most of the damage. And with that, I hope these tanks are going to be cooked alive. Surprisingly, their guns are still firing. Let's get these supplies back. These tanks are withdrawing. We should be able to annihilate them now. And I want these tanks to move out. Yeah, now these tanks are finally gone. Let's set up our forces over here. I need to get these mortars going. And we have to also get our scouts forward. I would love to have taken these positions by now, but we can speak of a lot of luck if we're able to get forward to Lauterbach east in the next couple minutes. We can get some more infantry forward on Bischofroda. And we now have to scout out with some of our tanks. This position might be a good lookout point, but it might also be an awesome position for the enemy for an ambush. I wonder if it would be wise to use some artillery on that. We have our T-71s moving up over here. Let's send them over here so that we can get something.
1 minute remaining.
And I want these guys to push up over here. And then in the next phase we should be able to retake Lauterbach East and to make some meaningful progress. Supplies have been redelivered. Let's get our HQ to the rest of our forces. Where is our infantry? I was thinking I called some in. Yes, there it is. Let's also send them forward. And it looks like our scouts have not been able to spot an enemy. Let's also get them forward to our T-70s. We are not able to spot anything. I wonder if it's wise to push forward. Let's get these tanks forward. And with this ends the first phase of this battle. We have unfortunately 37 dead. We have 109 wounded and 6 men missing. In total, we have 152 casualties and lost 19 vehicles. On the enemy side, they have 94 dead, 227 wounded and 15 missing. In total, 336 casualties and they have lost 40 vehicles. So at least something. So far, this situation isn't that good, but I think it wasn't that bad either. But I think before we get into the next phase, this is a good point to end today's episode. I hope you've enjoyed this first look of the game, and I thank you all for watching. And until we meet again, I wish you all a great time.